Here we are in lesson 6, and we're ready to start talking about each of the components of fitness and getting into each one of them a little bit more so you understand them. So the first one we're going to talk about is cardiovascular endurance. We already gave a definition. You're going to learn a little bit more about it, but using these mountains as a picture in the background certainly illustrates a value of good cardiovascular fitness. And if any of you have done much hiking and climbing, you notice how you feel the payoff when you're in good fitness like that. So again, a reminder, here's the definition. It's the capacity of the heart and lungs to deliver blood and oxygen to the working muscles. And so here's some of the reasons we want you to see as far as why cardiovascular endurance is so important. All of the body's organs function better when our body is in good overall aerobic health. It spurs development of new brain cells to assist learning. So once we get good blood flow going to the brain, it helps with that. It's actually been called miracle grow for the brain. It's one of the most important ways to resist all sorts of diseases. So it's one of our most important buffers to preventing a lot of those long-term diseases that happen in the second half of many of our lives. It's an excellent way to control body weight. Positive impact on mood. Again, that's another impact on the brain. And it helps you develop the personal discipline and how to be resilient when faced with the challenge, because that's definitely part of hanging in there through cardiovascular activities. So you're going to hear this FIT principle quite a few times, applying to all the different components of fitness, and so we're going to apply it this time to cardio. So what each one stands for: F, frequency, how often. So how often should you do cardio exercise? Well, at least 3 times a week. You're not going to have a huge improvement off 3 times a week. It's going to be just kind of a baseline of cardio, and up to 6 times a week. You still want to allow in a little recovery. The intensity, it's going to be somewhere between 65 and 80% of your max heart rate. When you're just getting started, you're going to be down towards that 65%, because it's going to take some time for your body to get in shape. When you're looking at 80% in your aerobic or cardiovascular range, that's a fairly highly trained athlete. And how long? Well, you want to try and go at least 20 minutes, and people can go up to a couple of hours or even many hours. And some of those activities are more fitting that. You can think about people who are running marathons. They're taking a few hours. Riding a bike, even more hours. A really long hike. And yet you might go for a run on the creek path or something like that, and in 20 minutes you can feel a pretty good aerobic workout. So it's a little bit depending on the intensity and the activity that you're doing. And the type, well, there are activities that can be done continuously at a medium effort. So you might think about what fits you. Well, how long does it take to get in shape? You know what? So many people give up too easily, too quickly. And it is hard. It's not super comfortable to be breathing really hard and to feel your heart beating that hard. And I would encourage you to be patient, to stay in that lower end of the zone of your max heart rate. And after even 2 weeks, already your body will begin to adapt. And really, 8 to 12 weeks, the body has huge changes in some of those adaptations. And so here are the changes. And you can start to imagine what's happening. Those of us all here at high altitude, we luckily carry more red blood cells. But it's not just a static or just everybody has the same amount. As you get in shape and you continue to work cardio kind of activities, your body will adapt by producing more red blood cells, and those carry the oxygen to the working muscles. The other thing that happens is that your heart becomes quite a bit stronger, and we've all heard this, your heart is a muscle. And as it's stronger, it means that each time it pumps, it can pump out more blood per pump, and so it doesn't have to pump quite as frequently. And that's why as somebody gets in increasingly better shape, their resting heart rate just continues to go lower and lower. In a few minutes, you're going to figure this out. It's called the Cardiovascular method, where you're going to figure out your target heart rate. And this is the way to individualize this cardiovascular effort. And you could be in a workout and you could just check your heart rate and determine whether you're in that zone or you're going a little too easy or a little too hard. But the first thing you have to figure out is your resting heart rate. So then right now, if you can just stay still, that will help. Because in general, you're going to equate your resting heart rate for what it would be for 1 minute. Most accurate is to count it for 1 minute. And really even better is to do it first thing in the morning before you've gotten out of bed, so you can really see your body at its greatest rest. But if you're not able to do that, then you're just going to try and stay still, not get up, not be moving around for 10 minutes, and then check your pulse for 1 minute, and that will be your resting heart rate. Also, it's best if you check it a few times rather than just once. Sometimes different things can affect it, like stress or lack of sleep, or even if you followed up on a really hard workout, your heart rate's naturally going to go up a little bit. But every year somebody's asking me, well, what's the normal heart rate? Well, there's not really a normal heart rate for teens, but usually you're somewhere between 50 and 90. And again, it's somewhat dependent on the activities you do and even your genetics. So you're going to not take time right now, but when we're all done with this, you're going to go ahead and figure out your target heart rate, and there's a sheet for that in the packet. And we're always going to give you a little example of somebody who's used these different activities to their advantage outside of just fitness. And so this guy right here, Justin Cronin, he says that my inventing time is all done under the influence of aerobic exercise. Basically, I do all my thinking while I run. And he's an American author, and he's written several books there, you can see. He was born in New England, and he's Harvard educated and has won several awards. And even if you look at the back page of Runner's World, you will see all kinds of different people who in life are entertainers or do different things and how they've used running to help them in their life. All right, you're going to take a few minutes after this and look into the Schoology and find out what the follow-up activity is.